What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a major botch taking place at SmackDown, a former skinny WWE star looking insanely jacked, WWE President Apologises, Mustafa Ali provides a WWE release update, Paul Heyman almost fights a fan, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at a major botch taking place during SmackDown's tapings. Following this week's edition of SmackDown, WWE would tape next week's edition of the show. This was because next week, the WWE roster will be traveling to Saudi Arabia, which means that they'll be unable to present a live edition of SmackDown. A footage of the tape show has surfaced online, and fans have shared footage of a humorous botch which took place during a key segment. The segment was a contract signing for the Tag Team Championship between Naomi and Ronda Rousey taking on Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville. This match is set to take place at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and will mark the first time that Rousey has wrestled in Saudi Arabia. But the blooper occurred when Ronda was supposed to slam Charlotte's head on the table, but Charlotte completely botched this up and failed to sell the move properly. It looked absolutely horrendous, and WWE are going to have a difficult job in editing out the blooper. Next up, Mustafa Ali provides his WWE release update. Our next story is an update on the potential release of Mustafa Ali. Since Ali requested his WWE release last month, they've been reserved in granting Ali's request, and it looks like Ali has no choice but to wait until his contract expires. But taking to Twitter yesterday, Ali would tweet, "I'll see y'all in like 2.5 years." Fans were quick to offer encouraging words to Ali, as Ali being forced to remain under contract seems rather unfair, especially in an era where WWE is making their roster as thin as possible. It'll be interesting to see if WWE begins to use Ali on television. We know that the relationship between Ali and the WWE chairman Vince McMahon is strained, and Vince is probably refusing to release Ali despite him. The 2.5 years is a long time in catering, and hopefully something changes before that time and Ali is finally granted his release, or maybe doing something meaningful in WWE. Next up, a former skinny WWE star is looking insanely jacked. Enzo Amore was one of the most controversial stars to ever compete in WWE. Although he was incredibly popular with the fans, especially when he was in a tag team with Big Cass, he was rather disliked by the locker room, including a story which involved him being chucked off a tour bus by Roman Reigns. Now, he was released 4 years ago after a pending investigation of assault. Since his WWE release, Enzo has been working on other projects as well as other selective independent shows. Enzo recently shared a reel to his Instagram story, and he looks to be in the best shape of his entire career. He is ripped, and he looks like a completely different person. Enzo seems much happier since departing WWE, and it's clear that he's put a lot of focus into his fitness routine. Next up, the real reason why Big E was moved to SmackDown. Since Big E lost the WWE title at the Day 1 pay-per-view, fans have been critical in relation to just how WWE have booked the talented star. Big E has been moved drastically down the card, and he's now completely out of the WWE title scene. At one point in time, it looked like Big E was going to head into WrestleMania as WWE Champion, but it's unlikely that he'll even have a prominent match on the card at all. Big E's best bet is currently looking at the SmackDown Tag title match or even appearance in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He was moved to SmackDown late last month, and he's now going back to teaming alongside Kofi Kingston as the New Day. And according to a new report released by Fightful Select, Vince McMahon made the executive decision to move Big E back to SmackDown as he missed the magic of the New Day together. Interestingly though, Vince doesn't want Big E and Kofi being referred to as the New Day. They'll be referred to as simply Big E and Kofi Kingston. This is likely due to the WWE wanting to keep the New Day name exclusively for the trio. When Xavier Woods returns to television, which could be soon, it's likely that they once again will be referred to as the New Day. Next up, an AEW star praises Roman Reigns. During the latest edition of Matt Hardy's podcast, he would discuss in depth his thoughts about current Universal Champion Roman Reigns. The current AEW star had huge praise for Reigns and called him the best thing in the WWE. Hardy stated, "The stuff he's doing currently with him and the Usos, I can't put that over enough. It is my favorite thing on WWE television. He's killing it. To me, I'm almost disappointed it took them so long to actually step out and turn him heel. It became such a huge success. Sometimes you have to do that. If the crowd isn't reacting to what you're giving them in a certain way, one of the things that's nice about pro wrestling is that you can flip someone to being a bad guy or a good guy, and that was a step they needed to do with Roman because the crowd was just so split on him. Now it's nice to see a talent from a company having high praise for another superstar in a rival company. Things should be done like that more often. Next up, Johnny Knoxville set for a WrestleMania title match. Jeez, what has WWE done with the Intercontinental title over the past 2 years? How have they even treated the Intercontinental title over the past few months? It's been shocking, as during Shinsuke Nakamura's reign as champion, he barely defended it and the title might as well have not existed. During the SmackDown tapings for next week, Sami Zayn captured the title and fans hoped that this would lead to a revival of the greatness for a once prestigious title. Sadly, this doesn't look like the case, as according to Dave Meltzer, WWE looks set to book Sami to defend the title against Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania. Now this is to cap off the feud between the two, but this will do little for the title's reputation. With Knoxville being a celebrity, it's likely that he'll be victorious in the match. Having a non-wrestler win the title on the biggest stage of the year is going to kill a lot of credibility that the title possesses, and no doubt WWE are going to have to put even more work to rebuild the legitimacy of the championship. In all honesty, this title needs a huge reboot. Okay, let Knoxville win the title, then vacate it, and then set up a huge tournament surrounding it. That is the only way to get some legitimacy out of this title once again. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the WWE President Nick Khan apologizes. When Mickie James was released in 2021, she was quick to take to social media to reveal that she had received her WWE belongings in a trash bag. This received major backlash, and key WWE figures including Vince McMahon were quick to apologize to the former women's champion. But according to Mickie, when she appeared at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view last month, WWE President Nick Khan came up to Mickie to apologize for the incident. During an interview with Sportskeeda, Mickie revealed, "Nick Khan came up to me at the show and apologized. I don't even know he was part of the company, but I hadn't met him or knew who he was at the time because it was early transitional days. But he even apologized to me at TV. This shouldn't have happened. I agree, it should never have happened. It shouldn't have happened 10 years ago, and now it'll never happen again. So I'm not sorry that it did what it did as far as posting it, because it was a raw and authentic thing, and it created a positive change and created acknowledgement from every company that they have to be aware of how it can look to a talent, especially a young and upcoming talent." And finally, Paul Heyman almost fights a fan. Our final story today looks at a memorable moment which took place following SmackDown on Friday. The dark matches are always a lot of fun, and this week's edition of SmackDown was no different. During the dark match, Paul Heyman got on the mic and teased getting into the ring to wrestle. Heyman stated he would do it if it wasn't for the LSU Tigers fan who was in the attendance. Heyman then proceeded to take his jacket off and walk towards the fan. This was before a member of the Usos smartly stopped Heyman from going over the barricade to confront the fan. It was a great moment that the lucky fan will probably never ever forget. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.